Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your favorite truth seeker and truth teller, as well as brother, Wise Chant, back with another one. And today's topic of discussion I've decided upon is critical thinking. We're living in a world where critical thinking is becoming less and less prevalent. People will take the first thing they see that tugs at their heartstrings or makes them feel emotional, and they'll just run with it. And it's really something that is being done psychological to people that they don't even realize is happening. That is happening right before their eyes, and they can't even see it. Um, they identified a long time ago certain words or certain phrases or certain topics that will automatically get people emotional. Um, it's identified through religion, actually, because nothing is more gets people moved more emotionally than religion. But they started to utilize that in the so-called secular world as well. And so what people do is they will use these words, and the moment that word comes out, it the critical thinking goes off. The big word that's been used over the next several years, or the past several years, excuse me, has been science. The minute the word science comes out, it all critical thinking goes off for a lot of people. They will take anything and everything that was said after that word science, and they will take it as law. Despite the fact that a lot of it, a lot of times, has little intelligence to what's being said. So much so they even started using it now in commercials. Before as I like to call it, the pandemic, you never heard anybody talk about the science in a commercial before. But it was so effective during the pandemic that now people are utilizing it to sell things to. That should be a code right there. Even science itself. Science is something that is, how should I say? It's like a working document. It's something that's updated and changed as the information changes. It's not set in stone. So anybody that comes out and says something to you, and they said, "Oh, the science says this," and they're not willing to exercise anything new that may come along after that, they're lying to you. That's a telltale sign. We have to be able to identify this. We have to be able to see this because there is a concerted effort to keep people blind to what's actually going on, or either even at least looking into what they see is happening. We have to not take anybody's word for anything, including mine. I am a type person. At one person point in time, I was way more dogmatic, but I've learned over the years that by closing myself off and just going with a specific school of thought and not opening myself up to other means of information, that I'm actually hindering myself in my intellectual development. You know, I'll take information from anywhere. I'll give you a perfect example. Am I a flat earther? No, I'm not. Have I heard compelling arguments from the flat earthers that made me think? Yeah, I surely have. I've heard some things that's like, wow, that's pretty interesting, and I'll have to go forth and investigate those topics for myself. And through me being able to do those type of things, I am able to expand my own knowledge as far as how I deal with the science of it all within itself. That's what we should be doing with the information we get. We should not disregard anything outside of that's just direct foolishness. We shouldn't be disregarding anything. We should be taking it, quantifying it, understanding it, and applying it. And the things that don't apply, we disregard. But now what's going on is people are saying that, you know, um, just because something comes from one school of thought or comes from one person that it's incorrect. I had somebody tell me recently that because something came from a racist or racist said it, it's not true. Just because they're racist doesn't mean that some of the things that they say is not true. If that racist says 5 + 5 is 10, is all of a sudden that invalidated because they're racist? No, it's not. So a person could be a complete jerk. A person could be the most hated person in the world that you cannot stand, and they can still say something that's reality and true. We have to be able to understand that and stop allowing our emotions to cloud our better judgment. Because at that point in time, what you're dealing with, you're in a religion at that point in time. You've created a religion. And that's exactly what the powers that be have done with science. They will sit there and they will say, oh, this is what the science says. The science says this. And they will come back with their information. And any other scientist or person that tries to dispute that, they will make all kinds of disparaging comments about them. They will disavow them. They will yank their license. That's no longer science. That's not science. That right there is indoctrination. And that right there is a religion. If you go back and you study how religions spread across the globe, how religions came about, that's the exact same thing. It's no different. How the early Christians turned Christianity, deal with Constantinople and Constantine, how anybody that went against what they were saying, they murdered them. Nowadays, they don't murder you, they destroy your career. So all these people in this one power structure can sit back and say, hey, this is what information we got. Some other scientists are sitting across the globe or even next door doing the exact same thing and come forth with different findings, and now all of a sudden they're a hack. Instead of saying, hey, that information is interesting, let's take what information I have, let's take what information you have, come together and build forth a better conclusion. That should be a code right there that you are being indoctrinated and you are being misled. Because science is ever changing. And we would come back, we would go back 50 years and we would talk about some of the things that we know in science now, they would have said we were crazy. There would have been no way. If we go back a couple hundred years, they would have executed those people as heretics and witches and wizards. And we would have told people from the inception of the internet about what AI is going to be doing, they would have done something similar. They would have said, no way that's possible. So we have to understand that these things are ever changing, and we have to stop closing our mind to the things that we see, and actually really don't put them to put them to the side and keep them for later, because something's going to come up in the future to where you may be able to come forth with a better understanding of that situation. I've had information come decades later where I would have seen something and I saw it and I put it in the mental inventory, but I kept it moving. Then 20 years later, I see something I read in a book or something I see on a documentary on TV or something I read in a newspaper or something I see online that says, wow, I saw something like that 20 years ago. We're living in a very precarious and dangerous time, and it's very important that we take an accountability everything we see. We don't disregard anything. Because what's happening now is, with the advent of AI and what it's capable of doing, like I utilize AI as a tool, and I have some deep conversations with AI, and what I'm seeing is frightening. They're making it so if you're not thinking for yourself, others will think for you. So I teach my son when I'm talking to him, and I'm building with him about the future, and I'm building with him about his life. I'm telling him, say, hey, I'm training you to be a thinker. So what's going to happen is, all these people around here that refuse to think for themselves and allow people to think for them, you're going to be in control of those people, because those people have not developed the critical thinking aspect of their lives, and we all have the ability to do it. Every last one of us. There's a concerted effort for them to take our intelligence from us and put it in the hands of someone else. Going from them putting neural chips in our brain, from them putting operating systems within our bodies, and we're not even paying attention to what's going on. They're telling you they're doing this. They're not hiding it. They're telling you. And the crazy thing about it, they've been telling us to us in movies for years. Some of the things that we're seeing right now, they were telling us in movies 30 years ago, and we're saying, wow, that's interesting. That'll never happen. Like the stuff I saw in the movie Terminator, The Matrix, it's literally happening right now. It's literally, look at data centers. Look at data centers and apply them to the Matrix. And what are we dealing with? What are we dealing with? We need to be sharpening our ability to critically think each and every single day. We need to invite conversations that counteract what it is that we're saying, that counter or diametrically opposed to what we're saying. So we can take those things, quantify them together, and come forth to a higher conclusion. That's the only way. That's the only way it's going to work. That's the only way we're going to make it. We're going to survive. Because those of us who are not doing these type of things and preparing themselves, I'm sad to say, I don't think they're going to be here much longer. They're not going to be here much longer. Life is ever evolving and it's ever changing, and it's people that are consolidating their power, and there are people that are gearing up for war. And whether that be a psychological war, whether that be a hot war, whether that be a mental war, whether that be a gender war, it all remains to be seen. Whether it be a race war, it all remains to be seen. But some form of fashion, they're gearing up for war. That's why all the elites are building bunkers. That's what the land grab was about in Hawaii and Los Angeles. Now we see the movies we saw in the late 80s or the 80s and late 70s, Escape from LA, Escape from New York. That's starting to seem plausible all of a sudden. With smart cities and smart locks and flock cameras, every form of surveillance. They got cameras on your daggone eyeglasses now. So now where they have basically surveillance in each and every single aspect of your life, even the bathroom and the bedroom aren't safe anymore. Stay vigilant, people. Do not discard anything. Take all the information you see and you get and you process it. Because if you don't, you're going to be left to the wayside. And especially our children. I work with some of my children nowadays, nice kids, good kids. But I talk to them about what's going on in their everyday life or what's going on in everyday life, period, outside of what's going on with them independently. And they have no clue about what's going on in the world. That's dangerous. It's very dangerous. So with that, people, I'm going to end my little diatribe here about constructive thinking, critical thinking, and I'm going to implore all of you to do the same. Think. If you do anything, think. And let's get the discussion started. I'd love to have some other people to discuss these topics with. We could be online, maybe start some podcasts. I really would love to get up and build with the brothers I normally like to, like Phil Valentine and Taj Sweet Bay and Dane Calloway and some of the other brothers and sisters out there. I would love to. So I'm trying to get this message out there, but we gotta make an effort to do it. So if you found any value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And again, it's your brother Wise Champ. And with that, I leave you love, peace, and happiness.